How's it going, everyone? We are coming off the heels of this Xbox official podcast, updates on the Xbox business. Generally, we got some initial information about everything going on as far as Xbox games coming to other platforms, and it is definitely going to be a slow rollout and probably going to be a wait-and-see kind of approach on how the initial portion of games do. But let's just get right into the thick of things. Right off the top, Phil Spencer noted that there are 4 games that they are working on that will be coming to competing consoles. I have an idea of what those 4 games are, but right off the top, he did say those games do not include Starfield nor Indiana Jones. The interviewer asked specifically about those 2. Could easily see those 2 coming in the future, but I believe these 4 games are going to be in the near future. Probably by the end of, the summer, I would imagine these 4 games that they're alluding to all being available on other platforms. Now, to go over these 4 games, they didn't state what they specifically were, but they gave us some hints, specifically noting the factors of games over a year old. 2 of the games will be community-driven and service-based titles. Okay, so to break it down, it was pretty obvious what some of these games were. Hi-Fi Rush is one of them, heavily rumored. That is definitely one of them. Pentiment is another one, and they specifically noted smaller games that they let the developers do that necessarily were never supposed to be platform pushers or big console exclusives. Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment completely fit the bill. As far as the community-driven titles, Sea of Thieves is the one that is obvious to me, and that's been heavily rumored as well, so that's probably coming to PlayStation. I believe the Sea of Thieves social media account has been pushing for that as well. The other title outside of that, I was thinking it's Grounded, because they said there's 2 games that were community-driven and service-based, and Grounded would fit that bill. Also, I don't think this is going to happen in the immediate future, but Halo Infinite does fit that bill. But I don't think it's going to be Halo Infinite just because I think that's going to have a lot of pomp and circumstance attached to it, and, there's a lot you can do with Halo. And based on watching this, I don't know if they're completely ready for the heavy push to get Master Chief, the Xbox icon, over onto PlayStation, but I was also thinking maybe you could do it in a way where it's just the multiplayer component, and Phil Spencer talked a lot about how a lot of these games are community-driven and service-based, and you want these games, and we've talked about it so many times, that you want these games available and accessible to as many players as possible. So Halo Infinite just makes all the sense in the world. You look at a Helldivers 2 that dropped on PC and PlayStation day 1. I think it would have done really well on Xbox as well, but it's a PlayStation published title and PlayStation ain't ready to go that direction. But they did drop it on PC day 1 instead of doing their typical wait 2 years and drop it on PC, and that game has really benefited from that. I think, with the live service games in general, just having them available on every platform would be very advantageous. Looks like at this point Sony's going to be of the mindset of putting those games on PlayStation and PC. Xbox, I could see more and more of those live servicey style titles coming to PlayStation, maybe even day 1. We'll see how that shakes out. But based on what I gathered, Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded is probably the 4th one. That's what I would have to think, and hey, for me, you guys know how I feel about Hi-Fi Rush. That game is absolutely fantastic, and I think it'll do incredibly well on PlayStation 5, and ultimately probably on Switch too. Like Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush can easily be on Nintendo Switch too as well. Sea of Thieves probably as well. Probably Grounded on top of that. Now, they did just specify other consoles. They didn't say PlayStation by name, but yeah, obviously PlayStation. Hi-Fi Rush, again, I think that'll do really well. They also, again, said that there's no promises beyond that not everything is coming to PlayStation or other consoles. I think that's to be expected as well. I think if you ultimately expect overnight every game to be day 1 on PlayStation, you're fooling yourself. It's not going to be every game. There's been rumblings about titles like Hellblade 2 and Starfield. Hellblade 2 certainly is not going to be coming day 1 to PlayStation. If it comes to PlayStation, it could be 6 months beyond its release, a year beyond its release. We'll see. Starfield, same thing. And I think when he's talking about those 4 games, that's that initial wave. By the end of the summertime is the timetable that I'm thinking of in my head. That hasn't been said, that hasn't been announced, but Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded, I think all of these games, and the top 3, especially Grounded, is kind of my, shot in the dark. But all of those games, Hi-Fi Rush, I see it being out on PlayStation fairly soon. I mean, that game, look at that release on Xbox. I could see them doing the exact same thing on PlayStation where Tango Gameworks just puts out the trailer, Hi-Fi Rush available now on PlayStation 5. Easily could see that happening because they literally did that for Xbox where it was a stealth release and it did very well doing that. Pentiment, same thing. It's not going to be like, we're going to announce this 6 months in advance. And even Sea of Thieves, I don't think it's going to have this huge, release plan 6 months in advance, a year in advance, or anything like that for it to come to PlayStation. Obviously, that's not going to be the case. I see all of these having a quick turnaround, and it probably will be a case-by-case basis. It's just, I question when we talk about games like Starfield and Indiana Jones, let's say at some point they do come to PlayStation. If you're talking about 6 months to a year after the initial release and pricing them at $60 to $70, I just don't know what the interest level for that is going to be, even if you bundle in Starfield with the expansion and everything like that. I just don't think that's going to be something that PlayStation gamers are going to be like, oh yeah, here's my $70 for Starfield, it includes Shattered Space, dude. But like, yeah, I just don't think that's going to do very well unless it's day one. Same can be said for Indiana Jones, but at the very least, you get those games on the consoles and it's an additional revenue stream for Microsoft. But we've seen it with PlayStation where they drop like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Great to see it on PC 2 years after the initial release and $60. Yeah, I'm not surprised it didn't light the world on fire. That's just what it's going to be. But you do create this passive revenue stream from another platform, so it's something to think about as far as that's concerned. But again, they're still focused on the long-term health of Xbox, and they feel like that this will only parlay and affect the long-term health of Xbox, and especially when you look at the live service games, the Sea of Thieves of the world, having that game available to more players is going to increase the revenue stream that game is going to be able to provide. They also did note no Game Pass on PlayStation or other platforms. Game Pass is only on Xbox as far as consoles are concerned. Obviously, Game Pass available on PC as well. Not too surprised about that whatsoever. I think there are a lot of hurdles you have to overcome with getting Game Pass on a PlayStation because the whole deal structuring would have to change. I don't think a lot of people understand that. A lot of people think, oh, Game Pass on PlayStation would be so crazy. P3R day one, $10, etc., etc. Yes, it would be great, but then Microsoft would have to rework all the deals that they have to do with these publishers, and you would have to make sure that Sony's on board with changing the perception of game releases on their console to follow the Microsoft trend of being available all in a subscription service. It's not as easy as just, oh, work out a quick deal, get Game Pass on PlayStation. That's not what's going on here. Like, it's a lot of hurdles they have to go through to get Game Pass on PlayStation, and I don't think that's going to happen for the foreseeable future, if ever. Just don't see that happening. But right now, it's going to be 4 titles. They're not the games that are going to get people super, super excited. I think the games that are going to get people super, super excited are going to be games like a Halo MCC, a potential Gears trilogy of the original Gears games. I don't even know if Gears 4 and 5 would get people that excited, but those games are so much entrenched and entwined with the Xbox brand that those are the titles that you wouldn't want to rush right onto PlayStation 5, that you would want to have some sort of marketing attachment to them, and you would want to think before you just drop those games on PlayStation. I would do a slower rollout, and that's what it looks like they're doing. Let's see how Hi-Fi Rush does, let's see how Pentiment does, Sea of Thieves Grounded, etc., etc. If Sea of Thieves crushes it, well, like, open the door for Halo Infinite, because that's the one that's a no-brainer to me. And again, if you wanted to do it where it's just the multiplayer, not the campaign, because they released the multiplayer as a free-to-play multiplayer title, I just think that would do so well, and people would get really excited, and it gives Halo Infinite a much-deserved second win. That's my 2 cents. It seems like I'm really dying on that hill of Halo Infinite, even if it's just the multiplayer, because I really enjoyed Halo Infinite. I know everybody craps on it, but I had a good time with it when it initially came out. I put like 200 hours into the game on PC. And just would like to see that game, after all of the content rollouts and whatnot, get a little bit of a jolt, because I do think it's well-deserved. But right now, that's what we have to work with. Do not be expecting day one Xbox releases on PlayStation anytime in the near future, but things certainly can change. And one more note, definitely gotta say this. Phil Spencer did note 5 to 10 years from now, he thinks exclusives are less and less of a factor in gaming as a whole, as far as console exclusives and platform holder exclusives. And that's already kind of becoming the case, as PlayStation PlayStation games are coming on PC. The window for these PlayStation games coming to PC might get shorter. Xbox games readily available on PC. A few Xbox titles will be coming to other consoles as well. I like this. I would prefer less exclusives. I get it that it does set each console apart, but I'm of the mindset, yo, like, consumer first, and for the consumer, it would be great if everything was available on every platform, and you could make your decision based on, you know, stuff like what controller you like better, you know, stuff like that. I think that would be ideal for, you know, not everybody wants to buy every console to play every game, or, you know, they don't want to buy a PC, whatever the deal is. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts. Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, and Sea of Thieves seem to be the locks for the games coming. Grounded is the one that I'm kind of thinking it will be. Halo Infinite would be great as well. But let me know your thoughts down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.